What's going on, guys? Drew Creal here. It's 2025 and it's time to get your butt in gear and practice guitar. So in this video, I am going to make the case for why I think practicing is literally the most important thing you could do as a musician and as a guitar player. It's the best use of your time as we move forward into a new year. The second thing I'm going to do is help you design a practice routine that works with your life and helps you achieve the goals that you have on your instrument. I've got some templates I'm going to show you later. And then last but not least, I'm going to make a few suggestions on some things that I think you should practice if you want to get better at guitar, if you want to master the instrument, you want to demystify the fretboard. If you do these things, those will happen for you and you will get better at music and at guitar. So if that sounds interesting to you, make sure you stick around. So you might be asking yourself, like, who the heck is this guy? Why is this guy qualified to make a video like this? Well, my name is Drew Creal. I'm a guitar player. I've been playing guitar for most of my life, about 25 years. I'm 37 now. I'm getting older, but I still practice a lot of guitar. Since September of last year, I've been doing 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. And I'll share a little bit about that journey later with you. It hasn't been easy. It's been very difficult, actually, and painful. And it's also another reason why I'm not making as many YouTube videos so far this year, but that is about to change. But to get to the point, I've been teaching guitar for 15 years professionally. I currently teach a number of students, mostly online. I offer guitar lessons. If anybody out there is interested in studying with me, that is an option for you. I've been able to boost my own skill set by developing a strict routine that I follow in my daily life to, get better at music, get better at guitar. And I think what I'm going to talk about in this video is going to help a lot of people. If you want to watch some of my guitar playing, just look around my channel. I've done cover videos of some of the hardest music imaginable in the metal world and in the jazz world as well. I've got Alan Holdsworth cover videos, Cannibal Corpse, Meshuggah, Decapitated, and I've got many more that I'm working on as well. So if you watch those videos, you'll kind of see where I'm at skill-wise. I don't think I'm the best guitar player out there. There's certainly a lot better players out there. But with this video, I just wanted to share my expertise, if you will, and what I've learned on my guitar journey and how to get better at the instrument, and that is by practicing. So the first thing we're going to tackle is why should you follow a strict practice routine? And what I'm talking about is practicing 5 days a week for 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, however much time you have to devote to this thing. Why should you do that? And how I would answer that question is very simple. Time spent with the instrument is going to equal proficiency, okay? You're simply going to get better. If you take the old biblical principle of what you sow, you reap, you'll understand that the more you put into playing guitar and playing music, the more you're going to get out of it. When you aim high and you expect more of yourself, the chances of you ascending to that level are even greater, right? So getting rid of things like self-doubt and questioning everything and telling yourself that, hey, it's too late for me to really devote this much time to guitar at this stage of my life. The more you tell yourself that, the less likely you are to actually achieving anything. So when you're spending your time transcribing difficult solos played by the great guitarists of our day, the riffs, you're learning different material from great musicians, that musical language is going to be a part of your guitar playing now, and you'll be taking that even further than where you found it. So that's another sort of argument for why you should practice. By committing to a practice routine, a daily practice schedule, if you will, you are going to be continually coming back to the guitar and getting better every day. And you're going to be working on a wider swath of material. You're going to be working on systems of the guitar that I'll mention later in this video. You'll develop finger independence. You'll develop your ears as well as your fingers. And ultimately, you'll write more interesting and compelling music. And to sum all of that up, what you're going to be doing is constantly improving over time. So rather than working on one song for 6 weeks and trying to play that, if you work on a larger variety of things in your practice routine, what's going to happen is you're going to get better at the instrument overall, and playing more difficult material on the instrument is going to become a lot more easy for you. So why should you have a practice routine? Well, I think overall, you're going to be much more confident in your ability on the guitar, and you're going to be more likely to promote yourself and your abilities on the instrument if you devote most of your time to practicing, right? You're going to feel more confident on stage. You're going to be wanting to take more gigs that will ultimately lead to more money and more opportunities. And you're probably more likely to post on social media if you're really proud of your guitar playing and you're working on something that is enjoyable for you to listen to, and you can present it well. You can easily take a video of yourself playing the guitar and sharing that with other musicians in the community, and a lot of opportunities and doors can open when you do that. Generally speaking, I think today there are so many different distractions when it comes to being a musician, when it comes to like social media and self-promotion and music equipment and gear and YouTube. There's so many things that can distract us from practicing, but I think the thing that's going to make the biggest impact in your life is spending time with your instrument and developing a higher level of skill set on the guitar. That's going to be more important than, I don't know, becoming famous on Instagram or something like that. So to sum everything up on why I think you need a practice routine and why I think you need discipline and structure in your guitar playing life, is you're going to spend way more time with the instrument. You're going to produce a lot more results. You're going to be more confident in who you are as a player. And if you look at the other side of that coin and you only pick up the guitar when you feel like it or when you're inspired, you're going to find that that doesn't happen very often due to all of these peripheral distractions that are in our world today, social media and all of these other things that are vying for our time. So that is what this video is about. Hopefully that makes sense, but trust the process, do the work, and maybe in a couple years, you'll be making compelling guitar music and you'll be super stoked on how you sound on the instrument. All right, guys, so let's develop a routine and get you practicing on the guitar in a more regularly, orderly fashion. So the first thing you got to do is get a handle on your time. So how much time do you have to commit to this thing? 2 hours a day, 4 hours a day, 6 hours a day, or more? I have some practice templates that are in the description box of this video that you can make a copy of that. It's a Google Doc. You can look at my suggestions and then you can erase the things. You can customize it to suit your needs. But I put those templates together because I think they're going to help you. But I wanted to talk a little bit about time and share some time management tips and tricks here with you, things that I've done over the last few years that have helped me tremendously. So real quick, I want to talk about, when we were younger and we were first learning guitar, we had a lot more flexible schedule, right? We could spend an entire weekend or even an entire summer inside practicing guitar. We could spend an entire day like perfecting one solo or one song. Like it was the golden age, right, of practicing when you're a kid. You're discovering so many things. That way of practicing, I don't think applies to most adults because we have more responsibilities. We have jobs. We have maybe kids. We're married. There's just so many other things that are vying for our time. So we have to control time better, and we can't live a reactive life, reacting to every circumstance. So what I would suggest doing is having a daily planner. And I'm going to suggest a couple books to you guys. There's this book called Deep Work by Newport, and he talks a lot about how to do really intense deep work for short periods of time throughout the day. It's a book called, Deep Work: Rules for Focused Success in a Distracted World. this is going to help you get to the next level if you read this book. And along with that, Cal Newport has his time block planner that basically allows you to write down lists of things that you want to do, like things you want to achieve, different tasks. And you take those tasks and those lists, and then you block them out into hours of time throughout the day. And I've found that I get a lot more done when I do this. I usually do this the night before and plan out my next day. And, you know, I've been going to the gym a lot more. I've been reading books. I've been making YouTube videos. I've been practicing guitar 8 hours a day. And I think it's because of this planner and Cal Newport. He's a G. He knows what he's talking about. Another great book is Atomic Habits. These are like little things that you can fix in your life, little new habits that you can develop that are good and that are going to bring some remarkable changes in your life. So this is another great book to read that will help you manage your time and help you change your life for the better. So I'm not super into the self-help genre, but there's just a few things that, you know, books that are written by, I think, people that really care about making a change in their life and in the lives of others. And those are two books that I came across that did that. So before we get into some of the templates that I've designed for you guys and some of the practice routine tips in this video, what I want to encourage you to do is to do this simple exercise. It's a writing exercise. So what I'd like you to do is set aside like maybe a Saturday morning or an early morning, brew some coffee, get a notebook out or your laptop with a Google Doc or something like that, and sit there for as long as you can and write about the guitar player that you'd like to be. Okay, and you can use other famous guitar players to kind of frame how you want to sound on the instrument, but write about the music that you want to make too. Reference classical music, jazz, different genres, but really pour yourself into this exercise and design a sound for yourself, okay? And really try to dream a little bit on how you want to sound on the instrument. I've done this exercise a few times over the last few years, and it really has brought a lot of clarity to the type of music that I want to play and how I want to sound on the guitar. So that would be my first suggestion, okay? The next thing that you should do is make a list of all the techniques on the guitar that you know of that are required to make those sounds, okay? You know, legato, slides, alternate picking, economy picking, 8-finger tapping, double thumping, just any kind of technique that you know of, or a technique that another guitar player does maybe, that you know you're going to need to learn to get those sounds that you've written about. So you spend time writing about how you want to sound on the instrument. The next thing you do is you compile a list of techniques. And then the third thing that you're going to do is make a list of all the things that you have heard about that you should practice, okay? And I'm going to list a lot more in this video, but these would be things like 2 notes per string scales, 3 notes per string scales, 4 note per string scales, 7th chord arpeggios, horizontal scales, vertical scales, triads, spread triads. There's so many other things that you could spend your time practicing. You're going to list all of those things out, and that's going to be kind of like our list of things that are going to help us achieve the sound that we want in our head, okay? And maybe, hey, for some of you guys, maybe it's just power chords. Maybe you're a doom metal guitar player and you just want to play sick power chords. Well, there's a lot of different types of power chords, all right? So compiling a list like this, I think, is going to bring a lot of clarity, and that is what we're going to use to load into our practice templates that we're going to talk about right now. All right, guys, here we go. Templates. I have really 4 different templates based on how much time you have. So there's a 2-hour a day, there's a 4-hour a day, 6 hours, and then there's an 8 hours a day practice routine. And in a little bit, I'll show you what I've been practicing on a weekly basis. So every 30 minutes is broken up into a different thing. So every 30 minutes, you're going to practice something different. And the idea here is we're going to try to cover a decent amount of ground. Over time, we're going to get better at those things. So you could run this maybe for 1 or 2 weeks, and then you could swap some things out. Another thing I wanted to say is if you've never done a guitar practice routine before, you probably want to start with 2 hours a day, okay, and then go up from there. For those of you that have experience practicing, 4 hours or more, go ahead and get into those other practice routines. But essentially what I have for this 2 hours a day routine is you've got 5 days a week. You don't have to play Monday through Friday. You could put these 5 days on whatever day that you're off work or whatever. You could then do this. But I think it's important to pick up the guitar for at least this many days out of the week. I wouldn't take this schedule and condense it into one day, okay? You want to be picking up the guitar more often because you're just going to get a lot more comfortable with the instrument when you do that. So we've got 30 minutes on each thing. So this first 30 minutes on Monday, or the first day of practice for the week, would be this 24 fingerings exercise. So this is a system that I learned from the great guitar teacher Shane Roberts. I think he's really the one who originated this thing. I mean, I'm sure other people use it. Basically, you're going to be playing on all 4 digits in every possible pattern. So that is the 24 fingerings. If you want to know more about that, you can take guitar lessons with me. I can explain it to you. I also have 2 videos on my channel showing you how to practice the 24 fingerings. So you could start there. And I'm going to put this document in the description box below for you guys to download. So that's the 24 fingerings. I can't really spend that much more time talking about it in this video. The next 30 minutes working on your scales, okay? So I think the pentatonic scale is the most important scale that all guitar players should know. So I have you practicing for 30 minutes the C major / A minor pentatonic scale in all 5 positions. That would be what I would spend my time on if I hadn't learned that yet. The next 30 minutes is going to be a song project of your choice. So what that could be is a transcription project where you're using your ears to learn a guitar solo. It could be you just learning one of your favorite songs. I'm going to have you alternating this throughout the week. Song project 1, song project 2 on every other day, so that eventually you're playing the song all the way through, and maybe you're posting a YouTube video of your performance. And then the last 30 minutes on Monday is going to be improvising, okay? So taking what you did with that scale and finding a backing track on YouTube and jamming out with that particular scale, using hammer-ons, pull-offs, slides, bends, all the different expressive techniques within the concept, in the context of that scale. I think improvising is important and you should practice it. So that's why I've included it in this particular routine. And then for the rest of the days of the week, it's going to be something very similar. On Tuesday, I have you working on a horizontal scale in C major, and that's when you play scales 1 string at a time with all 4 fingerings. I have an hour-long instructional video that's private on my channel or unlisted, where I break that down. If anybody out there is interested in that, I can send you the link and you can watch it for free. There's 77 different on-screen examples in that video, but it's basically a video on how to practice scales. One of the ways to practice scales is playing them horizontally, and that is yet another thing that I learned from the great Nashville guitar teacher Shane Roberts. It totally blew my mind when I learned his system for learning scales, intervals, triads. The fretboard became demystified to me, okay, when I worked on that, and it just made sense. And I was eternally grateful to Shane for showing me that. So if you want to learn that system and you want to get serious about your guitar playing, I'd be more than happy to teach you on a weekly basis, or even a one-off lesson if you want me to show you how to practice scales like that. It really will make you a better guitar player. Okay, and then the next 30 minutes on Tuesday is an interval study. So that involves playing every possible interval on the guitar using, the horizontal scales. It's the second layer of the horizontal scales. And then, as I mentioned earlier, you got song project 2, and then the next thing is melody playing. Okay, so just an idea of something that you could practice is learning a jazz standard, learning a pop melody from a famous pop song, and playing it on the guitar, or you could write your own melody. All right, moving on to Wednesday. I've got you working on some speed training, working on your picking, your alternate picking. You could also do economy picking, but you're going to be doing those 3-note per string scales in all positions. So that means playing every mode in a given key. And you're going to be practicing with your metronome. That might already be intuitive to you, but you could also use something like Drum Genius, which is an amazing, very inexpensive app that you can download that gets you jamming out with an actual drummer, okay, which is really cool. They've recorded all of these excellent drum loops, and you can also find some on YouTube as well. So after that, you're going to be spending time working on triads. So that's the 3-note chords that all of musical harmony is like built off of. And I have a system for practicing triads as well that I can show you. That's also in that video that I mentioned earlier, the hour-long how to practice scales video. I can send that to you if you're interested, or if you want to take lessons with me, I'd be more than happy to show you that. So the next one is the song project 1 again. So we're hitting the song that we practiced earlier in the week, and then another 30 minutes of improvising. Okay, and then moving on to Thursday, you're back on the 24 fingerings. You're going to try to work in some different subdivisions of the beat, working on quarter notes, eighth notes, triplets, and beyond. Horizontal scales again, song project 2 again, and then more melody playing. And then usually the last day of practice for the week, I like to spend a lot of time improvising and just jamming. Also, you could use some time to write a song or a riff. So I've got an hour of song or riff writing for you there. So pretty much what all these other routines have done is taken that information, those things that I mentioned in the 2-hour practice routine, and expanded that. So you're working on an hour of picking on Monday morning with the 24 fingerings, okay? You're doing an hour of pentatonic scales. So if you have 4 hours, you can really dig in a lot deeper with these different areas of practice, okay? So it's pretty much the same thing, but you're spending an hour. Now, with the 6-hour routine, the big change that occurs is your 2 song projects that you're doing, you're going to hit both of them every day, which I think is super key, and it will help you finish those song projects a lot sooner. And a song project could be anything, man, but I think it should be a song that challenges you and that is part of that vision for yourself, how you want to sound on the guitar. You're going to transcribe a solo, or you're going to learn a metal riff. You could use Tab if you want, download something off of sheethappens.com, and that could be one of your projects, your song projects. So that is what we have going on here. In the 6-hour routine, there's some other things, because it's probably more advanced guitar players, working on drop 2 and drop 3 chords, which are important for jazz guitar playing. Let's see, getting into the harmonic minor scale and exotic scales like diminished, augmented, Messiaen modes, jazz scales, just more heavier content that you probably wouldn't have time for if you're just doing 2 hours a day. And then last but not least, we got the biggie here. We got the 8 hours a day practice routine, this is kind of what I practice, okay? And if you want to look at my list for this week, this is my list for the week of when I'm recording this video. So 24 fingerings, I've got this classical shred improvisation thing that I do. When I'm working on a scale, I do horizontal, intervals, and triads, just in hour blocks. Other tunes that I have to learn for a gig, improvising and recording, like all of that is built into this 8 hours a day routine. And I will say this, there is a distinction with practicing and playing guitar, okay? So if you're out playing a gig, that doesn't count as practice. And if you're having a writing session or you're recording, that doesn't count as practice either. This is all stuff that's separate from the making music side of things. So I just wanted to make that clear. That's how I view it. These are all just ideas for you guys for developing a routine for yourself. If you want to see real change in your guitar playing and in your life, this is what I would do. And in fact, this is what I'm doing. So if you guys have questions, if you want to study guitar with me, I'd be more than happy to work on this stuff with you. Well, there you go, guys. That is my practice routine video. Hopefully you got some good information by watching this. Hopefully you are encouraged You know, I'll say it again, man, like it's really hard to figure out what we should be doing to make our music careers pop off, you know, but I think the number one thing that you should do is spend time with your guitar, practice, and then turn that into some gold, whether it be on a recording project, on a song. I think a lot of great things can come from having a routine like this. And once again, customize that routine to your liking, okay? And just use that template to formulate how you want to sound on the guitar. So once again, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you got some good information here and you got a little bit inspired. And now it's time for you to actually start practicing. So get to it. Have a great rest of your day wherever you're at in the world, and I'll see you in the next one.